Welcome to Curtis Goes Corner, coming to you from a secret underground base in occupied America. Welcome back. Effort to ban Trump from Minnesota primary ballot slot shot down by state Supreme Court. Former President Trump will be allowed on Minnesota's primary ballot after the state Supreme Court dismissed a challenge. Now, we all know Minnesota is hopelessly progressive left. And it reflects that in their courts, in their judges, of course. Now, they're allowing it for the primary. We're going to have to see. Let's read the story because the devil's in the details, but this is a good victory. And how much money does this cost for lawyers to get what you're entitled to? Let's read on. The Minnesota Supreme Court announced Wednesday that it has dismissed a lawsuit will allow former President Trump to stay on the primary ballot. The court dismissed a lawsuit which is stated was seeking an end to Trump's candidacy under a rarely used constitutional provision that forbids those who engage in insurrection from holding office. I'm not a lawyer, but the thing is, though, has he been charged or found guilty of insurrection? And the answer is no. So how can they hold him to that provision of the Constitution? That was put in shortly after the American Civil War. So they could keep Southern leaders from going back to Congress and the U.S. Senate and other high office. But there was a clause in it that says if 2/3 of the House of Representatives allowed a person back in, they could come back in. No one was charged with insurrection or he put on trial for insurrection, to my knowledge. With this ruling, the Minnesota Supreme Court has refused to become the first in history to use Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to prevent someone from running for the presidency. See, it's not the felony. It's the insurrection clause. By ruling that state law allows parties to put whoever they want on their primary ballot, the Minnesota Supreme Court dodged the question of lawsuit, which they did, because it's an ultra-left progressive state. Now, that tells me they were just throwing raw meat to their base, which is the lunatics progressives. I mean, you burned down major cities in the state of Minnesota in 2020 and turn around and elect more Democrats. I don't mean to be a dick, but you deserve what you get. Even they wouldn't do it. Now, they left it open for the general election, and we all know they're just biding time so that the progressives don't make them crazy with their protests. Does Trump's alleged role in January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol disqualify him from the presidency? You know, it's funny. The DOJ, every single person that has been arrested for the January 6th protest/riot, not a single one has been charged with insurrection. I'll tell you the truth. There's laws like stopping the actions or voting of a congressional meeting, i.e. the House of Representatives or the Senate. Jamal Bowman from New York, when he turned down the fire alarm, he stopped it. And what did he get? He got a $1,000 fine. And in 90 days, if he's a good guy, he gets it wiped off his record completely. You know, it's a two-tier justice system, and that's going to crash things. There is no state statute that prohibits a major political party from placing on presidential nomination primary ballot or sending delegates to the national convention supporting a candidate who is ineligible to hold office, Chief Justice Natalie Hudson stated. Now, here's where they wiggled out of it. They know they have no legal ground. However, the court left the possibility open that plaintiffs could again try to knock Trump off the general election ballot in November, which is going to make him spend more millions on lawyers. And that's what this is. This is the death of 1,000 cuts. One individual thing doesn't hurt you, but 6,000 or 7,000 paper cuts will eventually kill you. And that's kind of what's going on here. Officials say the Minnesota challenge was filed by a liberal group, Free Speech for People. Boy, there's an oxymoron if I ever heard one. Keeping somebody off the ballot by an organization called Free Speech for People, which said that it will continue to campaign to end Trump's presidential bid. Oh, why don't they just do it? They just organize everybody and vote for the Democrat. No, that's too easy. They know if Trump makes it on the ballot next November, granted, there's a whole year to go, I get it. But as of right now, they know he has a very good chance of winning. And that scares the hell out of them. The ruling is also the first from a series of lawsuits filed by Free Speech for People. I'd love to find out who's funding these morons. Gee, I wonder who. And a second liberal group who are seeking to use Section 3 to end Trump's candidacy in the Republican presidential primary. And you see a picture of Trump there on Independence Day. Ridiculous 14th Amendment lawsuit just thrown out by Minnesota Supreme Court, he added. This is Trump talking. Congratulations to all who fought this hoax. Trump posted on a social media platform, True Social, following the ruling. Now, I haven't looked on True Social in a while. Maybe I should, another video, to see what President Trump is up to. Many legal experts expect the issue to eventually reach the U.S. Supreme Court, which has never ruled on Section 3. And they're going to say, in plain English, I'll tell you the truth, honestly, even with the ultra progressive leftist Democrats that they have on the court, I really and truly wonder whether it might be a 9-0 vote in favor of him being on the ballot. It is so simply plain. I mean, these people are very clever on the Supreme Court, and so are some of the law clerks. How you can word it to make it look like he committed insurrection, and it'll be interesting to hear the arguments. Now, here's the thing. Let's get back to the point of all these lawsuits, criminal and otherwise. One of them is going to stick. President Trump is going to get convicted of one of these charges. I can guarantee it. The one in New York, I believe, is a civil suit, so there's no felony involved in my knowledge. Now, that being said, of course he'll appeal, and there'll be tons of grounds for appeal, and he'll win on appeal. But when will that new trial come? After the election of 2024? Just before? Early next year? More than likely after the election. They'll stall it and stall it and stall it on appeal. So that way they can run ads saying, former President Trump, now convicted felon. Why would you vote for him? And that's what they're trying to do. This is the lawfare. It's a legal version of warfare, but lawfare, costing tens of millions of dollars in legal fees. Not counting the people who used to work for Trump that also paid tens of millions of dollars in legal fees out of their own pocket, a lot of them. So we're going to see. So even the Minnesota Supreme Court, they took the coward's way out and said, well, this is a primary election. Republicans, Democrats, any party can pick anybody they want to and put on the ballot. Come back and see us later concerning the general election, which is fascinating stuff. Every day there's a new precedent. We're breaking new ground every day. That's why it seems so crazy. In the end, I hope and pray that if there is a conviction, it's overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court and is finally over and done with. Yeah, they'll run commercials saying he was convicted of a felony, he's a criminal, but the people he appointed to the Supreme Court got him off. Well, you know, that's what they're going to say anyway. They're going to say something similar or something twisted. So let's just get this lawfare over and done with President Trump. And if you Democrats really and truly feel that Biden can win, or you have a better candidate than Biden, which is a really low bar, then put him up. Run a primaries. Let him win the primary. And then that Democrat will go on in the general election. If you're so convinced that Trump is that damaged, then do it. But you can't, because you are scared to death, because I believe he has a 75% chance of being president again next November. And they think it's probably higher, and they're scared to death. What do you think? Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.